with a little health and a little wealth and a lot of love.
And now socialism, if you take too much money from people who are high earners. So for example, you're a doctor, right?
Yes.
We had an episode of Where Have All the Good Dogs Gone? Mm-hmm. And you sacrifice your life for 10 years, you have all the student loan debt, and you work these ungodly hours. So what if the government took 50 to 60% of your income?
I mean, don't they take close to that already?
No, they don't. So think about what you get and cut that in half.
Yeah.
Why would you be incentivized to do that?
Yeah.
So there's a lack of innovation and incentives when that happens. And honestly, arguably, the quality of care and the quality of products and goods and services, usually if capitalism defines that, then they're usually the best product with the lowest cost wins. And that's with healthcare. Like again, arguably, healthcare in America is very, very good because of capitalism. But then you can get into that, like insurance, administration. We're not talking about that today. They also undermine the individual freedom. So if the government owns all this, then you don't have freedom of choice. You have to kind of go in line with what that is. And then also there's a state dependency. So, parents out there, if your kids are still living with you past 25, 26, and you give them what they want, and like you don't really teach them. And I had this debate with someone at work, this mama at work, who she's telling me that she wants to draw harder boundaries. And I mean, she's working and she can't retire anytime soon because she helps her kids so much. And she said, I just don't know how to say no. I want to help them. I don't want to make it so hard. I'm like, you're killing yourself and you're close to retirement age. So that just teaches them to be dependent on you, and that's okay. When really life doesn't really work like that. They're very, very fortunate to have that. So there's other things here too that we'll talk about around socialism, capitalism, minimum wage, and inflation. But those are the four really big key points.
So let's go back to our comments section. There is another person that comments with a different perspective that says, I'm not certain we should even have a minimum wage. If you bring skill to the table, you'll be compensated to whatever number you want or decline the job. If someone isn't smart or skilled enough to negotiate a living wage, do you really want them working for you? And then Patriotic Pat says, the problem isn't the minimum wage, that's for kids. The problem is having a $12 an hour work ethic and thinking you deserve $25 an hour. And then someone responds to Patriotic Pat and says, this, exclamation point, my husband manages a distribution warehouse and the guys that work for him come and go because they treat work as an option, calling in all the time, but they want the higher up pay.
Radical Ruth says, people treat work like an option because it doesn't pay enough for it to matter. Ooh. Radical Ruth says at Patriot Pat, deserving $25 is barely livable. In the South, sure. In the South, it's poverty-ridden. It's ran by politicians. But for us, in major cities working jobs that are very time-consuming and not easy to do, we deserve livable wages. Radical Ruth says, everyone needs livable wages. Radical Ruth says, I'm sorry, but y'all are a real concept of life outside the small town except what capitalism propaganda feeds you. And then Radical Ruth keeps going at Patriot Paddock. It's not just major cities. It's different states. It's inflation. And she did it in all caps. Skyrocketing while wages stay the same. Please get an education because I feel the dumbassery is in this conversation. You live in one of the most poverty-stricken states in the country, and you are like that. Radical Ruth is not done. You guys probably hear me talk. It's embarrassing how brainwashed you are. I love being in poverty. It's cheaper. She put that in quotes. Laughing my ass off. Embarrassing.
And then someone responds to Radical Ruth saying, well, then I hope none of them are shocked when they are fired and go from receiving a paycheck to absolutely nothing. My husband works hard, and I do think he should absolutely be paid more, but he isn't going to not work because he feels pay should be more. He continues to work hard and prove himself. He gets bonuses for that hard work and a raise every year. You do what you got to do.
Radical Ruth says, and back to not showing up to work, studies show people won't show up and show all out when they're not properly rewarded, aka not paid enough. If people aren't taking the job seriously, it's the business not paying enough for the labor, but y'all just want to be brainwashed.
And then someone responds to Radical Ruth saying, I will step out of this conversation. I love a good debate, but without the insults. Someone responds to Patriotic Pat saying, companies don't care how hard you work. If you're fortunate enough to find one who does, feel blessed. I'm about to make $26 an hour, and I still have to work a second job to support myself and my kids. Not everyone has the money, or we're fortunate enough to learn the skills you need today to find a decent paying job. Not paying your workers a livable wage is a damn crime, but it's probably easy to say it's not when you're not in that situation.
With a little health and a little wealth and a lot of love, that's a life that we live. Suits and scrubs.